When they started hearing Butler snores, the relatives went their separate ways, leaving the parlor and letting Butler sleep in silence. That's crazy, bro. Hello, Ruby Tomato. I can't relax anymore. I need to see what happens. I need to see what happens. Even though it had been so lively in the parlor with so many people gathered there, when all of them scattered at once and were swallowed up with the vast mansion, it created an eerie silence with no sound except that of the rain. Oh my, this fellow.
Nope. I haven't met a person like that even once. Aniki?
I haven't met them. Kairi-san, is that true? Even I only greeted her briefly when she came into the entrance hall. She looked like she was a bit over 20. I'd told her my name, but she didn't tell me hers. She was being guided by Genji-san, and I saw her go up to the second floor.
It would probably be faster to find Genji-san and ask him directly. Still, what a strange turn.
The mystery woman had spoken to Kairi. Without naming herself, she sneered that Kairi should have had a vague idea as to her identity. That brought someone to mind. And then there was her look-alike, the witch in the portrait.
Was this person trying to say she was the witch of the portrait herself?
I realized she was probably laughing at me for that reason. Even though it was our first meeting, she spoke as though she knew I'm your second wife.
Aniki, you really don't know anyone like that.
You talk too much. I've never seen a blonde woman like that go in or out of this mansion.
That kind of thing doesn't matter. The problem is what happens if that woman starts claiming herself Beatrice, if she starts calling herself the manager of father's assets.
Or maybe she plans to call herself his mistress's daughter and demand that she get a share of the inheritance. Either way, we've had one heck of a joker slipped into the deck. Did Nissan bring her here? Or did father?
This is bad. We thought we could manage something if we could corner Aniki in our talks. But this takes us back to square one.
I don't know what kind of schemes you've been making when I'm not around here. But it looks like we've been given a little time to form a counter strategy.
Yeah. Better to have some time to prepare than to have that blonde-haired Nichan suddenly appear at that dinner table and scare the shit out of us. Until we know why she's appeared, there's a limit to the kinds of counters we can make. What could she be after?
Isn't it obvious? She's going to claim that she's the rightful heir of father's inheritance. Father is still captivated by Beatrice. If he had a daughter with her, you can bet that he'll want to leave all of his fortune to her. She might even thrust some strange will in front of us. If we take it to court, we could probably claim a quarter or a half of it. But it will probably be impossible to divvy out the inheritance until that's settled. We can't have that. I can't, and neither can you, Rudolph. And the same goes for Rosa, right?
Each one of us needs to gather money quickly for our own reasons. It's our biggest weak points. So, what are they after? Kairi, can you guess?
This is all news to me, but it sounds like we're starting from the premise that we've got an urgent need to collect money, right?
Kairi-san, it's in a man's business you sometimes need funding when you're on the offensive. Please understand that.
What's this, Rudolph? You didn't tell Kairi-san about it.
Sorry. I wasn't really hiding it. Actually, it was kinda...
It's alright. If you decided this wasn't something you needed to tell me about, I won't press you about it right here. What's more important is finding out what this Golden Witch is after, right?
Yeah. Now that you know what we know, you can see how the enemy might come at us.
Rudolph had a certain measure of trust in Kairi's unique thinking technique, chessboard thinking. Of course, it didn't give him any more peace of mind than fortune-telling, but every time Rudolph was polishing up some important strategy, he'd give a great deal of thought to Kairi's advice. For a while, Kairi pressed her finger against her forehead, considering. Mind? Judging by the fact that her arrival was kept hidden until today, she must be planning to catch us by surprise in some way. We can't tell for sure whether she's after assets or being recognized as a relative. However, her coming was kept secret until today, which probably means she didn't want us to take any measures against her, something we might have done if we'd known beforehand. So her goal is probably something that could be hindered if we were to take measures against her. Understand?
I get it. So if she had a will that father had already written, or something that could prove that she's a blood relative, if she had some unshakable, rock-solid proof like that, you'd think she demonstrated on that beforehand.
That's right. On the contrary, since we're in the position to doubt her, she should have brought a lawyer or an expert, and trust some completely undeniable proof before us. If she could.
So the mere fact that she's launching a surprise attack shows that our foe can't win with a frontal assault. Makes sense. If a trump card can win no matter what, it's best to play it out in the open. If you play it in a roundabout way, it might end up weakening his impact.
Skipping to the conclusion, we can probably expect to be faced with some huge surprise, something related either directly or indirectly to the inheritance problem that's on everyone's minds. Our opponent probably plans to overawe us simply by the impact of the shock. However, no matter how great the impact might be, it cannot be absolute. In other words, we have enough leeway to take advantage of this.
You really got brains! Even understanding just this much is really reassuring. In other words, you're telling us not to get sucked into our opponent's pace.
In the end, it's an extremely simple conclusion. No matter what our opponent brings up, we should deal with it calmly, without rushing things. This is just the very first step in the art of negotiation. You really can't say you've predicted your opponent's thoughts with just this.
Come on. Just like usual, that was pretty good. Now that we know we got a little leeway to attack, it'll help us relax a bit.
What we don't know is how she's connected us to Krasny-san. Connected to Krasny-san. Will it be a surprise for Krasny-san too, or was he actually the one who called her here in the first place? If it's the latter, that might make things more troublesome. That's right. Secretly calling a mystery woman on the day of the family conference, it would be in terrible taste, but it does feel like something Nissan would do.
Aniki, let's do this. As long as she can't clearly prove her identity, we won't accept the position in any way.
That would be for the best. Already, she's refused to introduce herself to Kairi-san. We can't let our conference be disturbed by the statements of some unknown woman.
She might even show us proof that she's a blood relative. If she can prove father's blood runs through her veins like a maternity record or document, there's nothing we can do. It's always possible to suspect that physical evidence has been faked. And even if it's real, in order to prove that the person in the documents is the person we see, we need to check their condition at the hospital. At the very least, it'll be impossible to prove that now in Ronkenjima.
You're right. So in other words, it's something like that, like this. No matter what's shown to us now in Ronkenjima, it can be accepted as truth. We can't believe anything until the typhoon passes and they prove it to us at the proper place.
Spotting all kinds of holes and stuff like this is Aniki's specialty. We'll be counting on you.
Are you joking? You'll be helping too. We need the money. We need it quickly in a large sum. Our fates are all tied together in this. As if we just stand by and let some suddenly appearing mystery woman destroy the inheritance we're after. Rudolph and Eva always formed the united front as siblings at times like these. Sickened by the idea that their own inheritance might be snatched away by an outsider, Kairi noticed how indomitable they looked, shook her head slightly, and gave a small sigh as she gazed out the window. Outside, it was still raining heavily, and everything was gray, having lost all vibrance. The lush garden that the sun had shone on earlier now felt like a lie. For some reason, the words Eva had said a second ago kept repeated in Kairi's head. So in other words, it's something like this. No matter what's shown to us now in Ronkenjima, it can't be accepted as truth. There was an odd nuance to those words. At that moment, the island was closed up by the typhoon and isolated. They had access to no public institutions and no hospital. So on this island, no matter what manner of proof related to the outside world was shown, it would always be possible to call it a lie. It would be impossible to prove that something was the truth. Now that they were isolated from the outside, all truths whose proof lay in the outside world would be called lies. So does that mean that right now, on Ronkenjima, no truth exists at all? Does it mean that everything will now be ruled by lies alone? It almost gives the illusion that we've left the human world of truth and have been shut away inside another world, one of lies. Kairi remembered that woman's appearance one more time. She remembered both what she looked like and the witch of the portrait. On this island, which has been cut off from the world of humans and shut away in the world of non-humans, a non-human being has come to visit. Kairi couldn't think of the smile that had appeared on that woman's face as anything other than a portrait of misfortune. I get the feeling my chessboard thinkings missed a vital premise. One that'll be necessary to understand that misfortune-bearing smile. Yes, that smile made me feel as though someone inhuman was mocking me. I've based my reasoning on the assumption that our opponent is a human like us. However, just like this island is now, she may be a being that isn't human, and human values may not matter to her. If that's true, all of our reasoning is useless. For what reason has the witch been invited here today? Only one thing is certain. Now, in this instant, she's staying somewhere in this vast mansion. That was so good. Ooh, this is so exciting. It's so exciting. Maria, around lunchtime today, we met her outside, right? A woman. Who was she? I said it over and over. Beatrice. Maria, did you ever meet Beatrice before that? I've met her every year. Every year? In this mansion on Ronkenjima? I don't know what "u" means. Is that true? Yes. How long have you been meeting her? How many years ago did it start? I don't know. You don't know? What do you mean? Was it last year? 2 years ago? Longer than that. Rosa was astonished. Only the Ushirimiya family mansion existed on this island, so there couldn't have been any humans other than themselves here. And yet Maria said she'd been meeting with this suspicious woman every year during the family conference. If what Maria said was the truth, then the strange woman called Beatrice had been at the family conference every year. That's insane. If Maria's saying that eerie woman was at the family conference every year and none of us ever noticed it, even though Rosa had just met the woman herself a couple of hours ago in the Rose Garden, she was overcome with a strange emotion that told her not to accept that existence. What in the world did I meet with earlier today in the Rose Garden as the typhoon grew near and the winds roared? Maria, you said you've met with her every year. What do you two do when you meet? We sing songs and learn magic. And I learn how to draw magic circles. Really? That's incredible. Maria, you often draw scribbles. I mean, magic circles in your notebook, right? Did she teach you that too? Oh, kid's right. You know what? Beatrice drew examples to teach me. Come on, look! Maria joyfully fished through in her handbag. Then she drew out a single notebook and began opening to that page. Most of the pages were covered with drawings that were literally scribbles. All of them were occult-like things, and while it might sound rude to Maria, who was joyfully flipping through the pages, they were all creepy.
Look, here! Beatrice drew it. Oh.
Wait, the scorpion too? I recognize all the other ones of this. Like, obviously I recognize this one, but this one wasn't drawn by any of the murderers. The scorpion was the handle. Why does she have it too? Interesting. Excuse me. Each one of the pages in the group Maria opened to had an eerie magic circle. Furthermore, as a glance, Rosa could see that Maria hadn't drawn them. The strength of the strokes, the thickness of the lines, how clean the shape was. By itself, it wasn't enough to guess the background of the person who had written it, but it was enough for Rosa to be sure there was someone older than Maria. Rosa had to accept it now. There really was a person on this Ronkenjima that she herself hadn't known existed until now. And this person had come to the family conference every year to play with Maria. Maria? Does the witch Beatrice live here? Or does she live outside this island like us?
Beatrice is the witch of Ronkenjima, so she lives on this island.
So you're saying she's on this island even on days when it is in the family conference, right? I don't know what the means! Yes or no?
Yes.
What in the... I can't believe it. I can't believe it. How long has this unknown witch been living on this island? I used to live on this island. I lived on this island passing the time in the mansion in the rose garden. And even so, I never encountered a witch like that. Right?
Mama? Mama? What's wrong? Mama?
My head. It hurts. I was probably getting a little mixed up with my memories from when I was a young girl. When I was young, I was terrified of the witch, unlike Maria. So for me, the name Beatrice was a synonym for terror. Surely my fear from those days has been revived by the appearance of a woman going by that name. She can't be a witch. She's obviously a human calling herself Beatrice. Right? That's right. That witch entrusted me with an envelope. What in the world could that be? Rosa pulled that western envelope out of her pocket. It was one of the envelopes that bore the Ushirimiya family crest which Kinso used for his personal letters, and its red sealing wax had been sealed by the head's ring which Kinso had, which meant this envelope belonged to the Ushirimiya family head. In other words, it was from father. Why was the woman calling herself Beatrice holding it, and why did she give it to me? That's right. I'm sure she said to read this out loud at dinner. What in the world could be written inside? A sense of uncertainty gripped Rosa, as if opening this envelope might let loose incredible misfortune. However, at the same time, a little curiosity sprouted up too, urging her to find out what was written inside before the other siblings could. Using common sense, one might guess that it contained a large decision somehow related to father's inheritance. Actually, since she received it from a woman who called herself Beatrice, there simply had to be some connection. Does it mean this person wants not just the 4, but a total of 5 people to be included in the inheritance? I need a large sum of money, and I can't wait long. I feel like such a sinful daughter for discussing father's inheritance while he's still alive, but this is not time to spout out cheap ideas. I've even colluded with Rudolf Nissan and Eva Nissan in order to get some money out of Kraus Nissan. Coming from that position, I can't help but see the appearance of the witch as a sign of approaching misfortune. What could be written in here? I'm sure it's something frightening. Shall I read it secretly myself first? The witch requested that it be read at the dinner table, with everyone gathered. But if that's what she wanted, why couldn't she just read it out loud herself at dinner? Why did she go to all the trouble of entrusting it to me? Simply put, is it because she doesn't mind if I read secretly beforehand? It'd be better to secretly read the contents first. I understand that mean breaking my promise, but this is no longer the time for cheap ideals. Depending on the contents, I should probably discuss it with Evan Nissan and Rudolf Nissan too. They're always really good thinkers when it comes to this kind of thing. When I gulped and put my hand on the red sealing wax, something suddenly pulled at my sleeve, and I let out a small scream. What? Maria! Don't scare me like that! What is it?
Oh, you mustn't.
Huh? And Maria's expression was the same portrait of misfortune she felt from that witch, and I sent a tinkle up her spine.
Beatrice told Mama to read that letter during dinner. You mustn't break a promise with the witch.
That's not it. I just wanted to look at the envelope for a second. I'll keep my promise. After all, I always tell you to keep your promises. Of course I keep my promises.
Yes, Mama's a good girl.
That laugh. It isn't cute. So stop it. Come to think of it, you received the letter too, Maria. What was written inside?
I haven't opened it. Beatrice said I mustn't open it until the time to open it comes. So I'm taking good care of it.
I see. You listen well to what Beatrice says, don't you, Maria?
I'm Beatrice's disciple, so I listen well to what my teacher says.
I see. Huh? Rosa realized something. Mixed in with Maria's gaze was that glint of someone that wasn't her. If Rosa broke the rules and opened the envelope here, Beatrice could definitely learn of it, because Maria was the witch's disciple. Maria was in contact with that witch. I'll keep my promise. So tell Beatrice not to worry, okay?
I'll tell her.
Hey, Maria. If I wanted to speak to Beatrice, how could I meet her?
I don't know. Beatrice is very fickle, so she's always appears suddenly. I don't know a way to get her to meet me. But you know, she's always watching me. So if I get in trouble, she'll definitely come and save me afterwards. She's definitely erased her form and is hiding close to me.
Don't I always tell you to stop laughing like that? Rosa reflectively hit Maria on the head. That put a stop to Maria's laughing, but it wasn't able to erase the color that had risen to her eyes, a color that seemed to bear a portent of misfortune. Rosa swore. She swore that at least until they left this island, she would not leave Maria alone. She couldn't allow an unknown being to make direct contact with her daughter any longer. Very curious. 18, furniture and people. 18 o'clock. Crap, at some point I stopped writing down the times. So I probably don't have it written, but let me check. Yeah, no, I didn't write it down, so I don't know what else is supposed to be happening here. Oh well. Maria still hasn't come back. I wonder if she's gotten scolded by Aunt Rosa again. Ever since they met Maria at the airport, she's been romping around chatting about Halloween the whole time. But maybe she cut loose a little too much, acting a little too boisterous on the plane, on the boat, and during lunch, because Rosa had cautioned her several times. At times like that, Aunt Rosa tended to scold her much in front of people. Tended not to scold her much in front of other people. More often, she would take Maria aside and scold her alone. So since Maria had been called off somewhere, they figured she must be getting scolded. When they looked at the clock, they realized it was almost 6 o'clock. Of course, they couldn't imagine she'd been getting scolded all this time. Maybe it was time for some anime she watched every week to start. She probably hadn't left the mansion's parlor.
Maybe Butler-sama woke up and they've been playing together.
After all, Maria thinks of Butler-kun as a new friend. She must have had a lot of fun when she played Halloween with Butler-kun at the airport. Butler looked like he was having a lot of fun himself. Maybe he's gotten big, but he hasn't changed a bit.
That's true. I get the feeling Butler-sama was gracious enough to remain as he was 6 years ago.
Shannon, do you remember what he was like back then?
Yes, because he was, well, very energetic.
I also remember the four of us playing together 6 years ago. Shannon acted a lot like a big sister back then.
That's right. I get the feeling she was even more dependable then than she is now. Back then, I didn't really understand my place, so I did quite a few rude things.
Don't worry about understanding your place in that sense. When you're on the job is one thing, but when you're taking your break and with us, like now, I'd rather you stay and be friendly just like the old days.
That's right. There's nothing wrong with acting differently depending on whether you're the servant Shannon or off-duty Sayo. You aren't a slave, you're just working as a servant, right? I think of you, Shannon. No, Sayo, as my oldest friend. Thank you very much, my lady.
It seemed like that Shannon understood the hidden meaning behind Jessica's words. After all, she heard a bit about Jessica and Kanon's history from both of them. Apparently George had heard something of that history too. She walked towards the window and looked up at the darkening rainy sky.
Kanon may still be childish in some ways, but I think he's starting to grow a bit in its way of thinking.
Well, come on, quit it already.
Well, I guess I let myself get swept away by the moon once or twice. You know, after watching you two, I might have gotten a bit jealous, feeling like I was getting left behind. But forget about me. More importantly, how's it going between you two? Looks like it's going pretty good, huh? I wonder.
Yes, it's going very well. Shannon was lost for words, her face red, while George answered brightly and immediately. That carefree attitude made it easy to see that their relationship was proceeding so perfectly as to make anyone envious.
Dang, I'm jealous. So, does that mean Shannon's gonna resign and have a party soon? I wonder.
Oh, that's a good question. I wonder what she'll say. George laughed teasingly as though pressing Shannon for an answer. It was probably the way they usually flirted when they were alone. Oop, clicked something wrong. Jessica could only smile bitterly and say yes, thank you, that's enough. I have a dream. I don't just mean some ambition to become the leader of my own domain in business. I also dream of building a happy family together, with a partner I can spend my life with. I want 2 kids at the very least. It'll be nice to be able to do some sports as a whole family, and many more things beside that. I often talk with Shannon about that kind of thing, though every time I do, she always laughs and says I'm getting ahead of myself. For some reason, even at the age I am now, I find myself thinking about what I'll be like to live peacefully in my old age, with healthy grown-up kids and grandchildren running around all around the place. If only I could spend the rest of my life at a slow pace surrounded by that, together with Shannon forever.
Yeah, you're definitely getting ahead of yourself. But, how should I say it? It sounds like you, George Nissan. Being surrounded by a family like that would probably be so wonderful. The ideal family I painted in my mind is something like that.
To Shannon, who'd been raised in an orphanage, that harmonious image of a family was probably something to be yearned for. And George, who had made an absolute promise to grant that wish for her, may truly have been a fitting person for her to spend her life with. To Jessica, Shannon was a precious friend. George was surely the one most fit to entrust that friend's future to.
Well, I don't want to throw cold water at you guys, but Uncle Hideyoshi aside, what are you going to do about Aunt Eva? Wouldn't it be pretty tough to win her over?
There's no reason for anyone to worry about something like that. No one but me gets any say in who I choose to be my partner. I will bring Shannon happiness. Whose permission do I need for that?
Wow! Georgie-san, that was cool. Can't believe you can say stuff like that embarrassing out loud. I don't remember you ever being that kind of character in the past.
As they say, if you don't see a boy for 3 days, you should watch him closely. I grew as much as anyone. I intend to study more and grow to be the man Shannon deserves, the one who can bring her happiness.
Maybe even George realized how embarrassing the words coming out of his mouth were. His face turned very slightly red and he scratched his head. George-san.
It's okay. I'm sure Mother will be difficult, but you can leave that to me. You'll see. I'll make all the relatives accept you as my partner.
Awesome. I'm jealous of you, Shannon. Seriously. I'm very grateful that you're willing to go that far. Come to think of it, I'm starting to feel like a third wheel here. Maybe I better leave, huh?
As Jessica rose with a forced smile from the bed she'd been sitting on, the phone rang. Before Jessica picked up the receiver, wondering what this could be about, Shannon looked at the clock and jumped. Apparently, she spent too much time on her break.
I'm sorry! I forgot it was time for work! Then, if you'll excuse me...
At the same time, Jessica picked up the phone and Shannon began dashing out of the room. Shannon! Again, the usual time at the usual place.
Yes. Excuse me.
Hello, it's Jessica. Genji-san. Yeah, Shannon's going back to you guys now. We held her up, so please don't scold her. Yeah, yes.
I see. So it's almost time for them to get ready for dinner. Many plates were lined up on the counter in the kitchen. Preparations for dinner were proceeding steadily. The number of planes lined up there was 19. That was one more than should have been set up for the annual family conference.
I can't accept it. Why can't I deliver it directly?
Goda-san flared up at Genji, paying no heed to the pot that was spitting steam. The master enjoyed eating alone in his study, so his food needed to be served in that room. However, there was something that always happened. Of course, Goda-san would want to set the table for the master with his own hands, since he'd put his heart and soul into his cooking. But the master had imposed a strict rule that none but the servants bearing the golden eagle crest enter his study. So a Goda-san would be able to greet the master from outside the study. Not once had he granted the honor of carrying his cooking inside. Goda-san was always irritated by this. Of course, he was a newcomer in terms of years of service. However, he had piled up plenty of experience from his previous jobs, and he was quite confident that he'd been able to perform in front of Kinso in a manner that would do him no disservice. And yet, simply because he was not permitted to wear the golden eagle, he still hadn't been blessed with this honor.
Can you imagine what damage that would do to his pride? You might think that tonight was a repeat of that, but it wasn't. Because tonight, there was a person other than the master who wanted their food carried to their room. Apparently, this person is an extremely rare and honored guest, and we've been given strict orders to treat them in the same manner as the master, the family head. Goda-san must have wanted to earn some points by serving his honored guest with his own hands. After all, he was an extremely vain person. If he wasn't qualified to serve the master, then at least a guest of the same rank. He simply couldn't find time during lunch, so Ganon-san had gone in his place. So he truly desired to personally serve this person tonight's meal, the best dinner of the year. But Genji-san had to put a stop to that. Something about how Goda-san didn't wear the golden eagle. After being told once more that he wasn't qualified, Goda-san lost his patience. So heart-rending, Goda-san. I cannot do anything more than watch like this from the shadows.
Kumazawa-san, if you have enough free time to dawdle around, please get the dining hall ready. Here's the tablecloth set.
My apologies.
When it became her turn to bear his wrath, Kumasawa slid into the hall. But I gotta look at the credits again. Because like last stream I made a joke about how Goda should have been the one to be stabbed by the stake of envy. But now I'm thinking about that again. So I don't remember who got stabbed by Leviathan last time. Do I still have the screenshot? Wait, I forgot that I can just check in game. Haha. Or not? They took it away. Okay. I could like reload episode 1, but I think I have a screenshot. I would just use that. Wait, no, I don't have a screenshot. Okay. I remember that last time I went on my own stream to look at it. It must have been the winner review. Okay. Lust, gluttony, greed, wrath, pride. Oh! Kumasawa was the one that was stricken by Leviathan? Yeah, no, okay, so that's really funny. Back when we first went through the credits, oh my gosh, I kneel, I apologize, I'm on my knees, I apologize, because when I went through the credits, analyzing all the stakes, I made a big point about how a lot of these don't make sense and how it was a bunch of hogswash and I wasted my time analyzing them when most of them seem to be random. But now I'm thinking that was on purpose because the wrong people were chosen. And that's why a lot of them don't make sense. Because it should like 100% be Goda who gets stabbed by Leviathan, envy. Like his whole character is envy. Hello Ryokishi here. I thought he was stupid. I thought he was just being cool, like, oh, I'm gonna use this demonology stuff because they're cool and have no meaning into this. Like, at first I was like, it has to have meaning, right? Because come on now. But then when I analyzed them, I was like, a lot of these don't make sense. And I tried to stretch my thinking into creating meaning for them. And I did a decent job at making some meaning for them, but a lot of them didn't make sense. And now, absolutely they didn't make sense because they weren't the right people to be stabbed by them. Because like back then I said Kumasawa's envy because she's envious of like people's young age or whatever. Like come on now, right? They were all stretches and none of them were satisfying. But if Goda gets stabbed by Leviathan, that makes sense. Okay, alright, okay. I kneel. So Lust Forever, that one, yeah, it was one that I didn't really understand. Because, like, I guess you can say she's lust because she was really going after trying to get a child, right? Trying to birth a child so it could become the head. But now, so what we have been given to understand because of episode 2 is that those who must be separated are Shannon and George. Asmodeus for Shannon makes a lot of sense to me. Because lust has bad connotations, but it could just mean love, like an over excess of love. And she clearly has that, to the point that she made a deal with the devil to get her love. So the stake of Asmodeus makes a lot of sense for Shannon. Stake of Beelzebub for George? Gluttony? Maybe it just... I think I can accept it because, like, gluttony is always connected to food, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that. Gluttony is just... Here's the thing, a lot of people mistake themselves with gluttony and greed. Greed is specifically wanting a lot of things for yourself because you don't want other people to have it. It's like, money, 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 I want money, and I want everyone else to be poor. But greed isn't just about money. Greed could be about anything that you want just to keep it away from people. It could be, I'm gonna buy all these books because I don't want anyone else to read these. These are mine. I'm entitled to these books. Entitlement. Yeah, that's what greed is. Greed is entitlement. Like, you don't necessarily... You're not really gonna read all those books. You're not gonna spend all that money. You feel entitled to that. That's what greed is. Gluttony is when you... Gluttony is overindulgence. Gluttony is when you actually use the things you're hoarding. If you were a gluttonous with money, it would be someone who spends a lot of money, who wants to just spend and spend and spend more. They want to use it. Obviously, with food, someone who's greedy with food would just keep all the food in the storage, not eating it themselves, but not letting anyone else eat it. Someone gluttonous with food would just eat all the food, right? So, gluttony is just an overindulgence of anything. It could be watching a lot of TV, it could be reading too many books, it could be eating too much food, it could be spending too much money, it could be getting too much adrenaline rushes. That's what gluttony is. Gluttony is overindulgence. So, what exactly does George overindulge in? I could maybe say that he's like he said, like, going too far ahead. He's growing too fast. Maybe he's overindulging in his, like, wanting to have a perfect life. He's overindulging on life. He's trying to reach too far, already thinking about children and grandchildren and needing to get married immediately and all that. Maybe. I'm kind of happy with that, but that feels like a stretch. But I'm very happy with the stake of Asmodeus for Shannon. But what if we reverse them? Stake of Asmodeus for George also makes sense because he's also very love-stricken. But overindulgence for Shannon? I mean, it could just be two sides of the same coin. Both of them could be related to love. They're both overindulging. Okay, they're both stricken by lust because they are deeply in love, and they're both overindulging on love because they're just being super extra about it. Maybe. I think, sure, whatever, that makes sense. So that's 2 down. Then Leviathan, that has to be Gola, is just too perfect. But it could be Goda, but I think Rosa fits it as well. I mean, like, every sibling fits Envy. But I don't know, I think Rosa or Goda have to be Leviathan. Rosa's she cares a lot about her image, as we've seen. And also her inferiority complex. But then you could say that... No, that is Envy. Okay, Goda or Rosa? Let me write these down. Lust, Shannon, Gluttony, Georgie, Envy. I'm betting it all on Goda. Okay, what's next? Sloth? I don't know. Pride, it could be so many. Wrath. Okay, greed. So, Kinso's not gonna die. Like, he's alive. So, let me write them down right here first, the sins. Let's see, what order do we have here? Okay. Greed. Wrath. Pride and sloth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now let's look at the characters. I can more easily visualize them. Okay. So Wrath. I want to do Wrath. Canon fits Wrath really well. I haven't really seen anyone else get angry. You know what? Eva could be Pride or Greed. No. Pride, Kraus. I think Pride is Kraus. Greed, I'm gonna use Eva. I think she's like... No, it's because... Ooh, no. They could be switched. Any of them could be... They could be either or. Because Eva is greedy because, you know, she wants to be the head. But that's also a very prideful thing. She wants to be recognized as the most important member because of her pride. No. Eva is pride. Kraus shall be greed. Because, you know, he wants to keep all the money for himself. He doesn't want to share it. Yeah. Cooking. Okay. Kraus is greed. Eva is pride. We're just missing Wrath and Sloth now. Who's a passerby? Who just... Hideyoshi or... Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. Obviously Rosa is Wrath. That's her whole deal, that she can't control her temper. Duh, Rosa is Wrath. Now we're just missing Sloth. Who is a passerby? Who just lets things happen? I don't think it's anyone of the family members. Someone of the servants. Nanjo does make sense to me. He was already chosen, but it does make sense to me. Because he was just going along with Kinso's thing, right? He wasn't trying hard enough. But in a way, he was trying to get Kinso to write his will and become better. Maybe not. So... Genji, absolutely. Genji is Sloth. Because Genji's like, he really didn't do anything. He doesn't, what does he even do? He's just like, because he follows orders so closely, it doesn't matter what. He's not gonna fight back, he's not gonna resist, he's not gonna tell Kinso, hey, do better, hey, don't drink too much, right? He's just gonna say, yes, sir. That is someone who is just a passerby and lets life pass them by. Kumasawa also makes sense. But I have a feeling... No, never mind. I was gonna say I have a feeling that those who died in episode 1 won't die in episode 2. But I don't think so because I'm already killing off Shannon already. For Shannon. So, I'm feeling Genji is Sloth. Okay. But that does, like... No, people who have died in episode 1 will die in episode 2 again. It's just different order. So boom. Happy with that. Very happy with that. Lust is Shannon, gluttony is George, greed is Kraus, wrath is Rosa, pride is Eva, sloth is Genji, envy is Goda. There you go, there you go, there you go. Masterful move, masterful move. I hate how long it takes me to finally click. But masterful move. Nobody does it. Nobody does it like him. It's so funny. It's so funny when I notice the things early, but I just... What's the word? I just scrub them off. I shrug them off. That's what I was looking for. Because when I was reading the credits, I got like... I actually got mad because of how little sense a lot of them made. And now I'm seeing Adad because they weren't the ones to die. Okay. Small break. Gonna get some water. We are so back. My apologies. I had to go do something unrelated. Alright. The dinner scene is almost here, oh boy.
Beatrice-sama is of exactly the same rank as the master.
We're never back. All is in despair. I mean, even more now. This dinner is gonna come.
All rules regarding her are to be respected just as much as those involving the master. Godo-san, please devote your attention entirely towards your own task and serve all the relatives.
I wouldn't mind if it was you, Genji-san, but is it really okay to let a child like this serve such a guest? If she made some blunder, it would be quite embarrassing. I know they're served here a long time, but that doesn't mean they've been trained in the proper areas. If you allow me to speak freely, they are completely lacking in the fundamentals that might qualify them to interact with such a guest.
He's gotta die. The Leviathan Sphere is like the last one, so if I'm right, he's gonna have to stay for like the whole game. Goda spoke bluntly, even though Shannon was standing right there in the kitchen. Shannon was the one whom Genji had ordered to carry dinner to Beatrice's room. By the ranking system among the servants permitted to wear the golden eagle, Shannon certainly was the second highest in rank. If the highest ranked Genji went to set the table in Kinzo's room, then it fell to Shannon to set the table in Beatrice's room. Golda's pride was always horribly injured by this ranking system. They're trying to trick me! Look at this guy! Look, they're trying to implant things in my mind. They specifically said the word pride in bold letters, just to make me think that he's the stake of Lucifer, but not falling for it. It's Leviathan. At this time like this, he speak out bluntly and rudely against Shannon and Kanon. Goda kept raising examples of each of Shannon's failures until now, making a ruckus about how she couldn't do this or was terrible at that. Shannon, who listened to this with her head hung in shame, heard Kanon's voice from behind her. Kanon had been leaning against the wall in the hallway near the kitchen entrance, a blind spot from the inside, and had been listening to all of this. He probably knew that if he entered the kitchen, sparks would start to fly this way. I've got to say it. This man's scum.
But we could learn a lot about the fundamentals of entertaining guests from him. Goda-san has learned so much, so he'd be a great reference.
Nesan, you sure are nice.
More importantly, is the guest room and the VIP room really Beatrice-sama, as they say?
Yes. I met her when I was sent to serve her lunch. There can be no doubt it's her.
Really? Well, was she doing well?
That's really cute. It shows how kind she is. It's a witch, of course she's doing well. She can't even age. Kanon remembered that he and Shannon had different impressions of Beatrice. To Shannon, Beatrice was a cupid of love who had granted her magic to establish a relationship with George. Judging by the expression that rose to her face, it looked like she couldn't wait to inform Beatrice of how her relationship with George had progressed. However, Kanon already knew that a witch came here with a terrifying goal in mind. The nebulous witch that only had been able to see the past had now revived so fully that she could walk in openly through the front door, and even have dinner carried to her. Once, when she vanished from in front of Kanon, the witch said something about how her own power was still weak. So if that witch was now appearing so openly, that it means she finally regained her former power. And she said something else too. She definitely said that she'd shown the seeds of love while fully aware that they would fail. And she said even more. She definitely said that the day had finally come upon which the door to the Golden Land would be open. Shannon. She's planning to hold some bizarre ceremony with a master, and you can bet it'll be something too horrible to imagine. And no one will be able to resist.
What are you talking about?
She came here. She came here as the masters requested, so that the door to the Golden Land would open and so that everything would be returned to the Golden Land. She definitely said that to me. In the past, the two of them as furniture working for Kinso had been told that what opening of the door to the Golden Land meant. So Shannon understood everything without having to ask a single question, and because of this, she felt a deep despair. Something tore at Kanon's heart as he looked at that expression twisted with grief.
How could... Why? Why now?
Didn't I tell you? We are furniture. Because you acted like a human, because of love, you're incapable of obediently accepting the day our service comes to an end.
Once I wished this day would come, but it never came year after year. I didn't know how long we'd be forced to endure suffering as furniture, so I thought that day of rest wouldn't come for all eternity.
I thought the same thing, but I believed that it would definitely come someday. So I never forgot that I'm furniture. But Nessan, you did forget.
It's my fault, isn't it? It was I who...
Yeah, it's your fault, Nessan. If only you had an experience left. We both would be happy that this day had finally come. You built up upon too many pointless regrets. Even though you knew you'd have to leave this room someday. This world someday.
Will the ceremony begin tonight?
Yes. And she said one more thing. Tonight, George-sama will probably give you an engagement ring, Nessan. That was a fact. George supposedly had an engagement ring hidden in his pocket today. And surely he would hand it over to that. Why am I so sleepy? She brought you two together, planning to use you as the sacrifices of the second twilight. Get it? She tempted you and took advantage of you.
I see. I never thought of that.
But she told me. She promised that if you didn't accept that engagement ring tonight, you won't be chosen as a sacrifice, Nessan. I think our chances of being able to go to the Golden Land together are very slim. There will be 13 sacrifices. Only 5 will be left alive. The chances of us being a part of that group are tiny. But if you just accepted her offer, those chances will rise. I want to take that bet. Our salvation is in the Golden Land. We're gonna reach that place and gain humanity. And then I want to live life as a human together with you, Nessan. If we do that, we might be able to find true love.
In the past, we used to dream about being able to go to the Golden Land. If we go there, any wish will be granted. We'll be saved from this pain. That's what we believed.
However, in the ceremony, only a few people would be invited to the Golden Land chosen by fate and chance. Everyone else would lose their life as a sacrifice midway through the ceremony. However, in the past, Shannon and Kanon had thought that whether they reached the Golden Land or were sacrificed, they would still be released from the duties as furniture. That meant the ceremony would definitely bring release to furniture like them no matter what happened. I don't like it. Together with you, I want to make up for all the suffering we've endured. I won't become a sacrifice. Nessan and I will remain alive. And we'll reach the Golden Land together. So I won't let you become the sacrifices of the second twilight. Please, Nessan. Don't accept that man's ring. If you don't accept it, she promised not to select you as a sacrifice.
I cannot do that. Tonight's ring is very special. My heart won't let me refuse it.
Nessan, the sacrifice of the ceremony are decided on the witch's whims. And that witch has promised to overlook just you, Nessan. You alone will definitely be able to go to the Golden Land.
Only me? What about you, Kanon-kun?
The witch's game is enough for me. I'll slip through her clutches. I am not powerless. I'll tightly grasp that faint chance. After all, our lives are temporary, aren't they? In order to begin our real lives, let's drag ourselves to the Golden Land. Then, we will gain humanity. And when we're done that, maybe I'll be able to experience romance, just like you, Nessa. Maybe I won't have to make someone cry just because I'm furniture.
Kanon-kun.
I've had enough of being furniture. I'll definitely become human. I'll escape this pain, no matter what. There were tears in Kanon's eyes. By now, Kanon had noticed. Shannon hadn't been the only one to know and suffer from the taste of love. He had too. The tears Jessica had shown him that day, and Jessica's pitiful face as she tried to smooth things over and stay bright ever since then, had slowly wrought some kind of change on Kanon's heart without him knowing it. I'm so scared. I got pinged. What's this? Okay, we're back. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Oh, man.
Shannon, I have been calling to you for some time now.
Shannon jumped at the sudden sound of Genji's voice. Apparently he had called for her repeatedly. She hurriedly answered. When she turned back, Kanon had disappeared. It seemed he didn't feel like showing his tears to anybody.
Yes. I'm sorry for being careless.
I entrusted Kanon with lunch, but it should have been you as the next in rank, after me who carried it. Beatrice-sama is the most honored guest of this house. There is no more honored guest than her. Please think of her as another master and be polite.
Please take care that you make no blunders, understand? It is quite painful for me to entrust this to someone as inexperienced as yourself, but there's nothing we can do about the house's rules. Carry out your duties with the utmost of care.
Goda had officially agreed, but he glared at Shannon with an expression that told her he definitely wouldn't forgive any mistakes. Even Shannon felt that Goda might as well go himself if he was so desperate to go. But she considered this one of her responsibilities as one who had been allowed to wear the Golden Eagle and had to give up. And anyway, I wanted to meet Beatrice.
What will I talk about? What will I ask? I don't know. Will this be a meeting of gratitude? Or one of grief? Or else? What? I don't know.
Shannon piled the witch's food onto the serving cart and left the kitchen at a slow pace. The person knocking was Kraus.
Father, today is our annual family conference. Have the siblings gathered here just to get a glimpse of you?
Ah, be silent! I say I won't leave. You're there too, aren't you, Genji? Why haven't you had my food brought here as I ordered you to?
Kinzo screamed across the door. Genji was waiting behind Kraus.
Your meal has been prepared so that it might be carried to the study. However, Kraus-sama has expressed his wish that you eat downstairs tonight. Father, I'm not asking you to do this every day. Just for this one night, won't you gather together with your family? Who are you calling family? Since when have you considered vultures circling and wait for roadkill to be family? Would you call rotting, oozing maggots family as well? My.
Kraus shrugged at this answer, which he had half expected.
Genji, carry the meal here as you were told. Why don't you listen to what I say? Why?
Genji-san, I leave this in your capable hands. My voice will no longer reach that man.
Kraus gave his head a small shake, then quickly turned his back to the door of the study. He had only come calling to save face in front of his siblings, knowing full well how useless this was. After Genji watched Kraus disappear down the stairs, he called again across the door.
Master, we have finished preparations for your meal to be carried here. Shall we bring some for Dr. Nanjo as well?
Nanjo could be seen in the study. because Kinzo had forcefully pestered him into finishing their long-lasting chess game they had been playing against each other since the early evening. Nanjo had announced as the doctor that Kinzo's days were numbered, so he couldn't refuse if Kinzo demanded that they finish this game while he still lived. Kinzo was thinking deeply about his move, concentrating more than usual. It had been Kinzo's turn for quite some time, and Nanjo was tired of waiting and had randomly pulled out a book on magic that he couldn't understand and was skimming it.
Kinzo-san, you won't think of a good move just by fondling your... Fondling? By folding your arms and sitting in front of the board. Perhaps we had better take a break and refresh our minds. Be silent. That should be enough to solidify my defense. Will the bishop and the knight be able to penetrate that opening?
Yaoi? Kinjo, best ship. Oh my gosh, you both thought the same thing. Great. Today's Kinzo was forced on maintaining a strong defense. Normally, Kinzo's motto was that offense was the best defense. However, today was completely the opposite.
I am also hungry. Shall we suspend the game here? Besides, I've used my head so much without a break that I'm already feeling dizzy. At this rate, I might not be able to perform at my best. No, that won't do. In chess, both players must always make their best moves. Any other sort of move is merely a nuisance to consider, ruining a game whose focus is predicting your opponent's thoughts. Such a thing considerably reduces our enjoyment.
Kinzo sighed deeply and finally shifted his gaze away from the board. Chess isn't chess without an opponent. If that opponent is tired and wants to suspend the game, there is no getting around it.
True, the goal of chess is for both players to make their best possible moves and aim for victory. It's an intellectual game where reading your opponent is key. But Kinzo-san, have you forgotten that there's another goal besides victory? What? What other goal could there possibly be? To think that you of all people would forget something like that. Chess is a way to pass the time, having fun with a friend. Duh. You got me there. I believe I once said those exact words to you long ago. Yes, you got me there.
Kinzo, who almost always wore a frown, relaxed his face for once and laughed. Nanjo felt like he'd been reunited with a close friend he hadn't seen in ages.
That's how it is. Now that I've managed to take a shot back at you, what do you say? Will you go down with me and have dinner? Why don't we discuss Kasparov's middle game along with some coffee? An appealing proposition, but I'm afraid I must decline. I can no longer leave this room. After all, the ceremony has already begun. Is that so? Well, my stomach's growling. I will go downstairs. Anytime you feel like it. Nanjo. Thank you. Oh, what could you possibly be thanking me for? We didn't finish our match. However, it seems I have somehow achieved that second goal of chess, which I had long forgotten. And it would appear that goal is no less important than achieving checkmate. This isn't like you. Why so sentimental? You said it yourself, did you not? My days in this world are numbered. Now, go. And don't come to this room again. Let us continue this match in the Golden Land. That's fine with me, but we'll have to start over. Losing that rook was a serious blow. Well then, I will see you later. Yes. Later. Maybe in the Golden Land, or in Purgatory. Or possibly in the next world.
Nanjo didn't say anything beyond that, and with a motion made smooth by familiarity, he pushed the button on the table that would release the auto lock. Then, after looking at Kinsel's back one last time, he left the study. As he did, Genji's voice came from the hall.
If you are ready, master, I will now carry in your dinner. It may be my final dinner. I must savor it. Please, do prepare it. As you wish. And are your preparations complete as well, master? Indeed. In the time leading up to this day, this room has been carefully wrapped in a multitude of barriers. Even if her roulette chooses me, I will definitely repel it. I will remain alive and will surely become one of those who reach the Golden Land. I shall repulse the vision of the Reapers try to drag me off to the Golan of the dead.
Streamer thinking. I don't. No, 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 no. It cannot be, it cannot be. Ugh. I have nothing to spit out. What is in my mind right now is Kinsel's words about the witch's roulette. It seems like he is saying that Beatrice chooses who dies, but that goes against what I've been thinking, because I think that Kinsel's the one who picked the victims. No, 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 no. Kinsel cannot die. Come on, think. No, it cannot be. 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 That's the thing, though. It's just weird because I cannot leave this room. I will not be chosen. But he did leave the room. He did leave the room. In episode 1, He's just lying. He is just lying to us. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. He is just lying. He's the one choosing the victims. He is the one killing people. I think that's the thing. It's too simple if it's just one person, right? So, like, I don't know. He's the one. He's the one choosing. He's the one choosing. I don't think it's Beatriz. No. It's him. It's just him. It's just him. And he's just spewing hogswash right now. Okay, whatever. Nothing changes. My thought process is the same.
Excuse me. I have come to serve you a meal.
Shannon entered the VIP room, bowing her head and pushing the serving cart. The young woman by the window, gazing out in the supposedly empty darkness, was definitely that witch. So, it is Shannon this time. How long it has been. Oh, your face isn't nearly as pale as it once was. I can see you're no Kanon. I hardly recognize you.
Thank you very much.
Shannon solemnly prepared dinner. There were actually several things she wanted to ask the witch, but they were all jumbled up and she didn't know where to start. Her heart was also jumbled up and she didn't even understand her own emotions, so she could only do her job dispassionately, with everything still vague. However, the witch saw what was in her heart. You can't hide anything from a witch. I won't apologize. I am a witch after all.
Apologize for what?
Come now. Kanon must have told you about it already. I only rescued your love life because of my mischievous spirit. It was nothing more than a seed I sowed so that I could watch your love grow complicated, become twisted, and fail.
I imagine some people think it's more fun to hear about love than to have it.
You couldn't possibly be trying to thank me, right?
I am. No matter what kind of ulterior motive you have when you gave me the magic of love, it doesn't change the fact that I received it from you. So even if you sowed that seed knowing that the two of us wouldn't be able to stay together for life, I won't hold a grudge against you.
It seems furniture is dull after all. This is where I show my skill by cooking it into something interesting.
I won't understand what you're thinking, Beatriz-sama. You are a great witch, and people like us don't even reach your feet, nor can we even imagine your grand thoughts. But there is at least one thing I can say.
What is it?
Thank you for teaching me to be human. You said it yourself. I am no longer furniture.
Be silent, furniture. If you were a true human, hearing the announcement of your death on the day that you were to receive an engagement ring should have you dancing around mad with grief. But what are you doing? Your face looks so enlightened, as though you've accepted everything. Truly an anticlimax, furniture.
No, I am not furniture.
Be silent, furniture.
I won't be silent, because I am not furniture.
Are you saying you won't obey my orders?
Furniture obeys orders, but a human decides for herself whether to obey orders or not, so I won't obey your orders.
I take back what I said. You really are interesting. If I hadn't sowed those seeds, you probably would have allowed the ceremony to control your fate without clinging to any emotions. But now you've grown to become something truly interesting, something that will entertain me to no end. That is well. For I am not fond of boredom.
Dinner is ready. Here you go.
Doesn't this look delicious? If Goda makes it to the Golden Land, perhaps I should commission him as my chef cook.
I heard from Kanon-kun something about how if I rejected George-san's proposal, you promised to make me a sacrifice.
Indeed. I said as much. You would make an ideal potential sacrifice for the second twilight. But because Kanon cried and screamed, asking that I spare you, I graciously listened to his words. With the condition that you abandon your engagement, of course. See how gracious I am?
What a foolish offer. And what a foolish threat. So you used that to thoroughly bully Kanan-kun, did you?
Oh, so you comprehend. Apparently Shannon had seen through it. She had apparently guessed at how the witch had bullied and humiliated Kanon with that horrible promise as bait. I made him crawl on my carpet and kiss my shoes. And that's not all. Do you want to hear the other ways in which I humiliated him? Shannon silently shook her head.
I finally come to understand you. You like to bully, confuse, and trouble people, and you do it to entertain yourself. So now I know for sure the one single way I can resist you.
And what might that be?
I don't care about you. I'll carry out the fate that has been given to me, that's all. I won't entertain you.
I don't care about you. The witch's features twisted in hatred for just an instant. It disappeared immediately, but the expression that briefly rose to her face was rare for the witch, whose malicious smile usually never faded for a second. I see. So you might resist me in that way. How amusing. How truly entertaining. I'll kill you. You and your lover both.
If that's the fate you've decided upon, do as you will. I won't be afraid, and I won't stand against you. After all, I don't believe that cruel fate that's coming is something controlled by your will. We humans know nothing about fates that might come to pass in the future. That's why I'll live to the fullest, unto the last instant, following my convictions and the fate set before me. Fate is just a roll of the dice. There's no malice in it. Even if you claim there is, I won't believe it.
Oh, so even though you've quit being furniture, you have no fear of death. It seems you believe this will bore me, but you couldn't be any more wrong. The thought of seeing whether you can hold on to that view until the last moment merely serves to intrigue me more and more.
I can't stand this. Why did you take the form of a human, appear in front of us, speak with human words, and ridicule us? If you hadn't appeared in front of us, if you hadn't predicted the future, we would have been able to live life to the fullest until the last moment.
That's what witches do. I live off your fates, reigning as a high-order being does over low-order beings. Your fates are nothing more than fragments. If I cupped my hands together, I could scoop out as many of those as I want. Just like how no matter what the beef cows I raise might babble, it doesn't change the fact that I'll be having them for dinner.
We are powerless, so we cannot fight against your ceremony of fate, or fate. But I can make you unhappy right now.
Oh? And how were you planning to accomplish this?
By walking away from this place right now. No matter how I respond to your words, it will only amuse you. Refusing to respond to your questions is my only method of resisting you.
I see. You might be able to take a shot at me, but you cannot defeat me, yes? I have the power to kill anyone for eternity. I cannot wait to see whether you can keep up that resistance in an endlessly repeating cycle of death and rebirth. Don't you forget it, okay? You spoke those words yourself.
Well then, if you'll excuse me. If you need anything, please call me.
Shannon gave a reserved bow and faced away. With that gesture, maybe she really did take a shot back at the witch, just like Beatriz said. Because when the witch called out again, she sounded a little more quick-tempered than she had before. Kanon thanked me, you know. Can't you? Can you thank me for bringing you your day of rest?
Furniture may be happy when their day of rest comes, But I am a human, so I have nothing to thank you for. Is that all you have to say? You plan to accept George's ring, right? Don't forget that if you do, I will abandon the promise I made with Kanon. The promise that you would not be selected as a sacrifice. If you need anything else, I'll have someone else come. If you will excuse me.
A flat-out interruption. Shannon still hadn't answered her. And the sound of the door closing came instead of an answer. Shannon's resistance probably struck far more deeply into the witch than Shannon herself thought, because an expression of hatred once again rose to Beatrice's face. She had made Kanon submit, even though he hadn't been ensnared until the end. Whereas Shannon, who had been so easily ensnared before, refused to submit this time. I see. So, the state of affairs is amusing after all. Perhaps I really am still young. This is why I haven't tired of life after 1,000 years. That was so good. That was so much. That said so much about everything. Holy cow, that was good. Like, even more now, I believe that she doesn't decide who dies. It's not nothing to do with her. She seems to just be using this threat of people thinking that she is the roulette just to make people submit and make people to entertain her, just so they could show emotions. There's no way she... Like, there was no way... Okay, she couldn't have killed Shannon or George, because it's not in her hands. She couldn't prevent their deaths either. She was just lying to Kanon so that he would submit for her amusement. And that's why she kept saying it over and over. I'm gonna kill you, you're gonna die tonight. Hey, just, you're the second Twilight sacrifice. Did you know to Shannon? Because that's all she has. She's afraid that Shannon will accept the ring, because if she doesn't die, then it will be proven that she holds no power. So she really wanted to break Shannon, but she couldn't because Shannon's goated. This is so good. It just every little thing that happens just proves to me even more that Beatrice has no power yet. She doesn't decide who dies. She cannot kill anyone. Yes. Very good. Very good. Alright, just the dinner scene and then stream shall be over. This was the most fabulous part of the family conference. Dinner. In the past, when Kinso had been serious about the conference, he'd taken everyone's yearly gathering for dinner very seriously. Because anything embarrassing that occurred during the dinner would cause the deepest shame for him as the host. He had given Natsui stern orders to avoid embarrassment at all costs. Because of that, she and Kras eventually hired Goda, who had confidence in his cooking abilities. Thanks to that, they became able to serve wonderful dinners they could be confident in. But by that time, Kinzo had closed himself up in the study and never appeared for dinner. Maybe you could call that ironic. Okay, I just wanted to let it continue to see if there was any gotcha moment or not, but the game just seriously told me that Kinzo trusted Natsuhi enough to put her in charge of keeping everyone under control, of not letting anyone cause an embarrassing scene. That's why she's so adamant about protecting the family and getting in the way of fights. Like, it specifically said Natsuhi, not Kraus and Natsuhi. Oh my gosh. Like, there's a chance it could mean that he just means that Natsuhi should not be embarrassing. I don't think so. That would be very weird wording. That's so sweet. Oh, Kinso. He really did respect Natsuki. I hope that's true. When the main dish for tonight, calf steak, was set out, Goda began to describe it proudly, further stimulating everyone's appetites. Novelette.
This sauce here is Bordelaise. Of course, the red wine base I used was excellent even among those made in Bordeaux, but in addition, I prepared an original blend of this house. A blend of choice alcohol from around the world to further deepen the taste. The sauce is limited to this year. I sincerely hope you will enjoy your meal.
Isn't that wonderful? However, isn't Bordelaise sauce common to French cooking? It almost seems like using alcohol from the outside France with that is heresy.
Karao-sama, today is the annual family conference. As a dinner for those who normally live far away and who have traveled far from across the world to gather together. I realized it would be most fitting to have a sauce made from a blend of fine alcohols from all over the planet that have never met each other before. So I had it specifically prepared.
Wonderful! A truly wonderful cook, that's what you are! Food and medicine work twice as well if you sell it right. It's already twice as delicious as normal food, and the advertising makes it twice as good as that. The taste keeps doubling and doubling. Ha 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 ha!
Come on, Nissan. That question of yours was obviously a plant.
No doubt about it. You totally see Goto-san up to steal the show on that one. You think so? I thought there might be some people here who didn't notice that today's food was in the French style. After all, Eva just said that avoiding butter was a virtue, but that's the Spanish style. Well, I guess they do share a border, right?
That's not what I meant. Will you please not take a part of the conversation out of context and make stuff up? That's foreshadowing right there. That's what's happening to us, showing us out of context things to confuse us and make us believe in Beatrice when in reality it was just the wind. It's a very delicious sauce. Goda-san, you certainly are amazing.
It is a great honor to receive your praise. And this is all thanks to Madame's habitual guidance.
No, it was all Goda's idea. I only listened to the recipe and approval of it. It looked like the siblings quickly got into a louder argument about the sauce, but for the most part, dinner proceeded peacefully. However, a certain question they desperately wanted to ask burned each one of them. It was about that visitor, the 19th person, the Golden Witch. In actuality, Eva and Rudolph and the rest were very much on the guard during this meal. If the mystery guest was ever going to be introduced, this dinner table would be the most appropriate place to do it. However, no place was set at the dinner table for the witch. The family conference would begin in earnest after the meal, and previous experiences told them that it might last until deep into the night. However, they couldn't imagine why such a person should be kept hidden until this late if they were going to be introduced in the end anyway. So Eva and Rudolph and the rest were starting to feel a certain suspicion. Perhaps this guest was unknown even to Kraus. If this was an assassin called by Kraus to give him an advantage in the inheritance problem, then maybe they should speak frankly to Kraus beforehand, creating a common front to resist anything disadvantageous to the four siblings. If she was Kinsel's assassin, whose purpose was to keep the inheritance from being handed over to the four siblings, the enmity between Kraus and the other siblings could only become a weak point that benefited the enemy.
Well then, please enjoy at your leisure.
When he finished explaining the reasoning behind the table setting and the cooking, Goda tried to leave the room, but Kairi called him to stop with a small voice.
Yes, Kairi-sama. What is it?
Please excuse me. I was under the impression we had company today, but can we expect to be joined at the dinner table? She had planned on saying it nonchalantly, but unfortunately it reached the ears of Natsuki, who was sitting in the next seat over. It seemed that Natsuki had heard it as, even though the guests are here, why haven't the hosts come to dinner? In other words, that Kairi had asked whether Kinso was going to join them for dinner. The family head is not at his best, so he said he would take dinner in his study. I believe my husband explained that in the beginning. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. Natsui's reaction instantly told Kairi that this unknown visitor was also unknown to Kraus and his wife, which meant, on the chessboard inside Kairi's mind, she could hear the clattering of pieces as they rearranged themselves. Goat is back. What do you mean we have company? Butler, who had been sitting next to Natsui, seemed to have heard Kairi's words without misunderstanding them. Thinking it strange that someone else could be invited to today's family conference, he spoke up incredulously. And thanks to that, the unfortunate feeling building in the siblings' chest suddenly exploded. Everyone looked at Goda at the same time. Judging by the reactions, it was clear that no one here had invited a mystery woman. In an instant, Goda was startled to find everyone's gazes gathered on him, but because of his naturally vain personality, this actually gave him a feeling of superiority. Therefore, he answered in an extremely calm and graceful manner.
That is correct. Our guest wanted to eat alone in the VIP room and is being served there.
That extremely graceful and reasonable response of Goda's made it obvious to everyone that a 19th person, a visitor, existed. The VIP room? A guest? What? Who are you talking about? Natsui's words echoed the question that everyone who didn't know about the appearance of the Golden Witch was thinking. For a while, Goda was disoriented, caught completely off guard by the sudden interrogation. This was a guest who had been treated with such deep respect. He hadn't imagined that Kraus and his wife might not even know about her.
The guest is, Beatrice-sama.
Beatrice! Yes, Cece! Beatrice came!
Maria had been telling the other cousins over and over again that she had met Beatrice that day. The cousins had answered flippantly, but they hadn't believed, so their eyes grew wide. Sorry, I totally thought you were joking, Maria. So, she really was there? My Beatrice? You mean that Beatrice? With the gold?
Whom? I've been saying she exists the whole time! No one believes me!
Sorry, Maria-chan, that's not how we meant it. After learning that everyone had doubted Beatrice's existence, Maria, who had been in a good mood all day, completely lost her temper. George, who had sat in the next seat over, tried frantically to calm Maria.
Well, it is some sort of dinner entertainment. Quite a performance. Aniki, quit playing dumb. You caught her here, right? Called? Called whom? From where?
Nissan. Let's be clear about this. Who is she? Surely you aren't going to tell us it really is the Beatrice from the portrait, right?
I haven't a clue what you people are talking about. Goda, you really aren't joking, right?
I was just ordered by Genji-san,
Call for Genji. Immediately. When Natsui yelled, Goda sped out into the hallway. The sound of the door being thrown open was the spark that suddenly set the dinner table ablaze.
So, you're saying you're in the dark too, Aniki? Who called her? Was it Dad? I don't know anything about this. It seems you people think I've been pulling the strings behind the scenes, but this is a huge misunderstanding. Calm down, Kraus-Nissan. We're going past the stage of skirmishing with each other. If you're saying even you don't know about this mystery person, then something's crazy is going on.
Hideyoshi-san, can't you be a little more discreet with your words? My husband would not invite unnecessary people into the family conference.
Obviously, what are you people talking about? Are you saying that the witch of the portrait has broken out of her frame and appeared? It's not as though anyone's actually met this witch face to face.
I met her. Eva and Rudolph nodded at Rosa's proclamation.
Whom? I met her too. Uncle Kraus, believe it. Believe Mama. Who?
The brief tension was broken and Maria also started to make a ruckus. By now, the room was thoroughly wrapped in chaos. I don't have a clue what's going on. So what does that mean? Does it mean that the witch who gave grandfather the gold is showing up as a special guest this year? But is that really true? Aunt Rosa didn't see it wrong, did she?
I met her too!
Aunt Rosa, are you sure? Yes. Maria and I met her, and we even talked to her. I met her. That was definitely a witch. Believe me, I definitely didn't see it wrong or hallucinate or anything. What on earth was that? In the instant before the typhoon arrived, Rosa definitely met a witch in the rose garden. But the scene had been so hard to accept as truth that the more she spoke of it like this, the less she understood what it was she had encountered. Ironically, since she was losing her composure, the more frantically she tried to cling to her claim, the more confused and hazy the thing she was describing became. Because of that, it only took a single calmly spoken sentence to confirm the nature of what she was describing beyond doubt. I also met with her. I greeted, well, I couldn't really call it that. I exchanged a few words with her. It's definitely not something that Rosa-san just saw wrong. Kairi-san, are you serious? Yes, but she didn't tell me her name, so I can't say for certain that she was Beatriz. However, and sorry if this is subjective, but since I met her in the entrance hall, I was able to compare her face with the portrait. My first impression was that this portrait has to be hers. This is all just subjective. That isn't possible. In the first place, where did that woman come from? The only boat arriving today was the one that brought all of us you here. Was she on that boat?
Well, it's hard to say for sure. Of course I don't remember any woman like that getting off the boat with us.
Oh, is that all? Can you prove there wasn't a boat besides the one we rode on? You can't. You can't prove one didn't come. Makes sense. If another boat did arrive, it might be possible to prove it. If someone saw it and said they saw it, then you're done. But it's impossible to prove that such a boat didn't arrive. Even if everyone says that no such boat arrived, that they didn't see it arrive, you can't prove that it didn't arrive secretly. It's that thing they call a devil's proof. It'll be simple to prove that devils exist. All you have to do is meet a devil. But it's impossible to prove that devils don't exist. Just by saying that no one has ever met a devil, you can't deny the possibility that they're hiding away somewhere humans can't go. You can't deny the existence of aliens for exactly the same reason. Until humanity searches the whole of space and can show perfectly that aliens don't exist, you can't be sure that they don't exist. And it's definitely impossible for us to ever check the entirety of space for the existence of aliens. Therefore, while there may be a number of ways to prove that aliens do exist, it will always be impossible to show proof that denies their existence.
So any discussion about there being a second boat would just be a waste of our time. She wasn't on the boat with us. That much is a fact, so she must have arrived on this island through some other means.
That's right. There may be no need to discuss how she came here. What's important is that she's actually in this mansion now and doesn't feel like having dinner with us.
Okay, let's review. Right now, there's another guest on this island, other than the 18 people with the Ushiramiya family. And this is a guest even Aniki and Natsui-san don't know about, right?
I know nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Be silent for now. Your headache will get worse. It is as my wife says. I have no idea what you people have been talking about up until now.
Then there can be only one answer. Father called her here. Called her here for tonight's family conference.
For the family conference? Again, why?
I don't know that. I'm questioning you because I thought you might know.
Eva, could you give it a rest? Krausley-san said he doesn't know. So here's what we've got. Father stealthily invited that witch of the portrait as a secret guest, and she met with Rosa-san and Maria-san and then Kairi-san. That's all we know. If she has something to say to us, she could just show herself right away. Now we've gotta wonder why she shut herself up without greeting us. Does that mean Dad, who never gave a crap about this family conference in the first place, secretly called a new mistress here, and had her wear the clothes of his ideal witch? This day is too important for that explanation to fly.
There can only be one reason. To join in on the family conference, she wants to claim some right to Father's inheritance. Ridiculous! The family head wouldn't have something as filthy as a mistress!
I told you to be quiet! I've lived in this mansion with Father all this time, and I've never heard a thing about it, something like that. If we stretch possibility to the limit, and assume father had an illegitimate child as a mistress long ago, then maybe father searched her out and called her here today. Is that what you're trying to say?
Dear! It's absurd to think father has such a child! To waste the noble blood of the Ushirima family on a mistress! This is something more than a few people making wild claims. It's obviously a fantasy, a delusion, a daydream! Or is everyone taking part in some kind of act to trick my husband? What act? If anyone's acting, it's you!
Quit it, Aneki. Natsui-san may be a bit over vehement, but she's right. Kairi saw her. I didn't. Neither did you, Aneki. But Rosa did. But that means she exists. There are people who can prove she exists, so we're sure right away that she does. It's the opposite of a devil's proof. And I want to meet her too. I want to ask her directly what kind of business she has with the Ushiramiya family. I agree with you on that. I do indeed wish to inquire as to what business she has on Rokkenjima.
Don't play dumb. There's only one thing she could be after. Father's inheritance. We should work out our future plans with a lawyer who's hot on inheritance issues. If the mistress claims equal rights as mother, then our shares will be cut in half. Wait a second, everyone. Genji-san will come very soon. He knows everything. I'm sure he'll answer our questions. Until then, let's stop talking about this. Hey, you kids. Sorry, but the adults have to start talking about something complicated. Return to the guest house. Rosa yelled at the children, slightly overcome with emotion. The children didn't understand why they were suddenly being yelled at this time, but Eva and the rest realized it too late. They were talking so bluntly about the filthy topic of inheritance right in front of the children. Of course they wouldn't want their children to remain, so they all immediately agreed with Rosa's plan.
That's right, just as Rosa-san says. George, take all the cousins and go back to the guest house. And you all play nice together.
George, do as you're told. Take all of the cousins and leave right now.
Wait a second, Mother. We still haven't finished eating.
And dessert hasn't come yet.
We will have Goda-san take dessert to the guest house. So leave. Jessica, from here on the adults will be talking together. Go. Sure. Even though I'm still eating. Well, I guess I won't be the only exception. Thanks for understanding, Butlerkun. But you sure are lucky. Huh? Why? I want to leave if I could. I bet. I'll let you adults enjoy your happy family chat about the inheritance.
I will also leave my seat. At any rate, it appears my turn will not come tonight.
Nanjo quietly rose to his feet. From his seat in the farthest corner, he had been calmly watching the whole discussion without butting in. Surely that reaction of his was very adult, just what you expect of a calm old gentleman. When Nanjo rose from his seat, it ended up encouraging the others who were supposed to leave. The children noisily rose from their seats, and as they hurried into the hallway, the servants returned.
I apologize for taking so long. I have called Genji.
I was checking to see that all of the doors and windows were shut, so it took me some time. My apologies.
Come on, children, to the guest house! Goda-san, my apologies, but could you carry the children's portion of the dessert to the guest house?
Is that what you wish?
It seemed Goda wasn't amused to see the dinner he worked on so hard be interrupted like this. He sent Natsui a look as though asking her whether that was really okay. Do as Rosa-san says. And it will not be necessary to set out desserts for us. Do not approach the dining hall until we call for you. Tell the rest of the servants to do the same. Understood?
Yes, as you wish. Come, everyone. Shall we go? Maria-san, you mustn't trouble your mother any longer.
I want to talk about Beato too. No.
Maria-chan, could you tell us about Beatrice in the guest house? I really want to hear about that witch. Okay? You're pretty darn smooth, George-san. I'm impressed. Are you sure you don't have kids? You're too used to this. Georgia's words had completely restored Maria's good mood, and now she took the initiative, telling the others to head on to the guest house. It looked like Goda didn't like being kicked out of himself, but he couldn't disobey Natsuhi, so he left the room with Butler and the rest closing the door.
Is there some way I might be of service, everyone?
Yeah, there sure is. We've got a whole bunch of questions. In fact, every one of us does. So much that we almost want to have a lottery to see who gets to ask first.
But no matter who wins the first lottery, the first question will be the same, won't it? That's right. Genji-san, answer me honestly. Who is this person called Beatrice in the VIP room right now?
No! Oh man. Dude. This is so good. We're done. We're done for now. We're done for now. But I have one thing to say. Well, two things. First thing is more praise. Just, this is so good. This is peak. This is perfect. Nobody does it like him. I am so entertained. I wish I didn't get tired so I could keep going, because holy moly, dude. This is amazing. And the second thing I gotta say is, okay. So I've been not saying anything about it because I've just been wanting to see how it goes. But I get it. I think I do. Kinda. It's hard to explain. So, Kairi, the portrait. Her version of the portrait is different, right? Everyone who has seen the 19th visitor sees the portrait differently because they're seeing a different Beatrice. And everyone who hasn't seen her still sees the portrait as the red-dressed witch. Which is why, if you noticed, when Kairi saw the 19th visitor, her portrait changed. But when Natsuhi came into the scene, the portrait in the background was back to normal because Natsuhi was there. So it was from Natsuhi's perspective, she saw the portrait normally. So it's very hard to explain this, but to me, that just gives me more credence that this witch is just an illusion. It's a fake, it's another memory, it's just something being shown to specific people, but she's not really there. And everyone who sees her just like gets this, that's what it is, they get a different memory implanted into their minds. Their memories being implanted into their heads. So they see this version of Beatrice. See, quote unquote see. They get this version of Beatrice implanted into their eyes, so now it means that Beatrice has always seen like this, has always looked like this. So when they look back at the portrait, she's wearing the suit and tie instead of the dress, because that is what they saw just now. So that is their Beatrice. That is how Beatrice has always seen to them, because a new memory has been implanted into them. And everyone who hasn't seen this 19th visitor stays with the old memory of Beatrice, which is the red-dressed Beatrice. That is what I am understanding. And it makes sense to me. And I'm still right about she being fake, and it's just, like Sam said, very articulate wind. But that is all I wish to say before I end it. So yeah, this is spectacular. Holy moly. This is great. This is fantastic. Oh my gosh. Peak. I'm having so much fun. But yes, farewell to all. I will leave now. And see you all another time. Bye bye.